Alright, the day has come. It is time for the true blue thinning. And I'll show you what's going to get thinned. I only have one plant there, so he's staying, he's staying, he's staying, he's staying, he's staying. I have 3 plants here, so these 2 on the outside are going to be moved. That guy's staying. The smaller guy back there is moving. That guy stays. I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing yet. I may just pull that up and move one of those transplants over there because I don't think he's going to recover. That guy's going. He's staying. Staying. Going. Staying. Staying. Now the issue with that is I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants on this row that are going and only 1 space. And that space I'm going to have to open myself. So I'm going to give up on that. And I'm going to move one of these better looking ones into that space. However, what am I going to do with the other 4 plants? And I guess I'm going to have to come over here and move them to row 4. That is, if I don't have enough plants in row 4. And as it stands, I think I do. So I've got a void there. I think I'm going to give up on that guy too. That was the transplant to row 4, which died. So that wasn't a very good plant to begin with. He's staying. Void there. That guy is going, that guy is staying. Staying, staying. That guy's going, that guy's staying. I think. Yeah, one of those is at a different maturity. That guy in the back is going, this guy is... No, this guy in the front's going, that guy in the back is staying. That guy in the back is going, this one is staying. And I don't know what the heck is going on with this space. I mean, that guy looks like those 2 other really stunty ones. And look at these little things. Little tiny little itty-bitty cotton plants. They're definitely getting yanked because they're not recovering. And that guy's staying. Actually, there's 2 there, and the one in the back is going. So I've got 3 that are getting pulled up for a void, 1 that's going, another one that's going, another one that's going, another one that's going, and another one that's going. So that's, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants that are getting moved, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 voids. So that should fill itself back up, which means I'm going to have to get rid of plants on row 1, which is kind of discouraging because those look a little bit better, but I want to stay within the rows. So that's what I'll do first. And I guess while I'm here on row 3, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 voids. 1 plant that's staying. That's a transplant. It's taken. Got another void there. Got 1 plant that's going there. That one's going to go. That one's going to stay. This guy's staying, this guy's staying, this guy's staying, and I have a void. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 voids that need filling and 1 plant. So that's a bit of an issue. I think what I will do there is take that plant, move it right here, or maybe take that plant, I'll probably take that plant, move it right there. Then over here, on row 2, I have that plant that needs to go, that plant that needs to go, that plant that needs to go, and the rest is staying. And I have 1 void there and 1 void there. And those are the 2 transplants that took, and 1 other plant. So I have 2 voids to fill. Actually, technically, I think I have 3 voids to fill. Let me double check my sheet. Yeah, row 213 is empty. So that plant will go here. That plant will go chaw. Actually, chaw. And so I don't have enough plants to fill up all the voids on these rows. Actually, wait, no, I do. He goes there, he goes there, and he goes there. Well, he there, he there, and he there. So I have just enough on 3 to fill all these voids. 1 will probably die. I only have 2 to move on here. Actually, sorry. Did I say 2? Just 1 to move on there. No 2. No 1. I only have 1 to move there, and it's just going to go right into that void. So I don't have enough plants to repopulate 3, but I do have just enough plants to repopulate 2, that is, if nothing dies. But I do have plenty of plants on row 1 that need to be moved. So I think what I'm going to do is take these plants from row 1 and put them onto row 3, and then this will just become 1-3, 3-1. That'll be a whole nother experimental section where I transplant unfertilized plants into a fertilized section. So without any further ado, I guess I will get to transplanting. Alright, I'm going to give you a quick little idea of what I'm doing for transplanting. I'm just digging in with the transplanting trowel and digging out a very thin, deep hole. If I had like an auger or something, that'd be perfect for this, but I don't. And I don't know if you can see down in there, but that hole is about 9 inches deep. And that's about as deep as I'm going to get it. Set the trowel to the side, reach over here to this plant, come down in here, grab it right at the base, and then just give it a slow, stout, straight upward pull. That'll give me a whole cotton plant with taproot. And I'm taking this taproot and I'm setting it right down in there until it hits the bottom. Then once I do that, I'm shoveling dirt down in there and then packing it in. And now that I've got the cotton transplanted, I just went down in here, pressed in and firmed the whole thing up with my hand. And then I took the dirt and hilled around the outside so I have a little trough for watering. And then after I get all of these transplanted, I'm going to come by and I'm going to water them all in with about a quart of water each. Two pints to a quart of water. Alright, I figured I might as well just show you watering anyway. You've already seen this, but this is all I'm doing. Just watering in until a puddle forms and is about to overflow. And then I come right on over, go to the next plant. Let's hit this guy again. And as you can see, these plants are pretty wilty after being transplanted. They dry out really quick, and if the plant is smart, it'll start senescing and abscising all of its leaves so that it doesn't dry out, and that gives it enough time to build up a new root system off of its carb stores. However, in order for it to start regrowing its root system, it needs ample ground moisture to supplement any pre-existing roots that are there, and so that the roots that it does put out have something for them to grab onto immediately and keep the plant alive. So you've just got to keep watering these things in until they are fully established. And once you've done that, then you can let them be like all the other plants, but you do have to baby them for a little while afterwards, which is why I'm watering the old transplants while I'm doing this. Okay, thinning and transplanting is done for today. I went through row 1 and I have thinned everything out to one space. Nothing got transplanted within row 1. I decided to leave 19D here. You know, on the off chance it recovers. If it's not recovered by the end of the week, then next week it will get transplanted out. Well, it will get thinned and then something else will be transplanted there. Over here on row 3, I have watered the 2 existing transplants, and I have transplanted one to row 4, to 6, and to 13. And this has all been thinned out to 1 plant per space. And over here on row 3, I still have a void at 313. And everything has been thinned out to 1 plant per space. And over here, within the row, I have transplanted 1 to 8. This is the pre-existing transplant at 7. The plant was already there. And then over here in spaces 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, I have transplanted 5 plants from row 1 over here to row 3. And I've marked this transition with that bamboo stake. And this will be a little experimentation to see if these plants do better than those plants, since these are being transplanted into a fertilized row. Probably not, because they're being transplanted, so they're going to have that huge stress. And then over here on row 4, within the row, I have transplanted to space 1. I've left this plant at 2. We'll see what it does. Space 3, space 5, and I have thinned everything else in this row out to 1, except I have left plants in space 10, I left 2 plants, and in space 13, I left 2 plants. And over here, I thinned out those 2 little tiny dead things and left this 1 plant in space 12. And my reasoning for leaving 2 plants on this row is because these plants have not even gotten anywhere close to the size of these plants, so they can deal with having a brother in their spot. And I still have that space and that space that may need to be filled over here on this row, as well as that space, and anything else that opens up in these, so I'm leaving these as reserves. The only plants I have killed this season have been those 2 right there. Everything else has died of natural or slightly unnatural causes, but nothing has been intentionally thinned out and killed except for those two plants right there. So we shall see. I very much doubt, actually, I know I'm not going to be able to fill everything. I mean, well, technically I can, but I still have that stunted plant, and that stunted plant, and probably 25% of these will die. Somewhere between a third and 20% is going to die. I almost guarantee that. So I will have spaces, and there's nothing I can do about it, but if I can get at least 50% of these transplants to take, that will very much improve my productivity this year. However, these transplanted plants may just not produce at all. I might get 2 bowls out of them or something. I don't know. We'll see. I know nothing. I'm just conjecturing. But that's why we're doing this. That's why this is an experimental plot. So I can figure out if I can do this stuff and then maximize my efficiency at a later date. Alrighty, we're back out here at the plot. It's the following day, Tuesday. So we're checking on the new transplants. And I don't see anything that looks terrible yet. But nothing really looks stand-outish as being in good health to me either. So really it's too early to tell anything, but I just came out here and watered the snot out of all the new transplants. So I really did a good job forming the hills on these 3 and these 5, because I can put about quart of water on these plants and just let it soak in. Whereas all this stuff over there, I've got to sit around and piddle with that and put on about less than a cup at a time. And as you just saw, squares are coming along quite nicely. It is now Wednesday, and we're over here on row 4. And as you can see, if I don't get my shadow in the way, this plant appears to have established. And over here, 4-3 looks a bit sketchy. I don't like how crispy these look, but it seems to have begun to establish. And over here at 4-5, similar story. Looks more like 4-1 than 4-3. And back over here on to row 3, 3-1 looks good, 3-2 looks good, 3-3 looks good, 3-4 looks really good, and 3-5 looks really good. And 3-8 looks alright. It's got 3 stalks, so it's doing alright relative. Over here on row 2, 2-13 looks pretty good. 2-6 looks sketchy. The terminal bud appears to have died on this, but as you can see here, this auxiliary bud seems to be taking. So this is not optimal, but it's better than nothing. We're here on 2-4. It looks alright as well. It looks reasonably well. It's sort of similar to 4-3. It's got a little bit of this black crispiness going on that I don't like, but it seems to be alright. All the auxiliary buds and the terminal bud are still there. And as far as our old transplants go, 2-2 and 2-3 look alright. Terminal bud's still there, starting to put out new growth. What's over here? 3-7 looks pretty dang good. It's got 2 large leaves now, and 4-3 died and got replaced, so. It's Thursday now, and the transplants look about the same, so I won't be overly verbose. Here is, what is this, 2-8, and it looks a little better than yesterday. Perked up a bit. All these ones, sorry, that was 3-8. All these ones on 3 look about the same. They're a little wiltier than they were yesterday, so it's a bit discouraging. See, back over here, this guy at 2-4 still looks about the same. This one at 2-6 seems to be a little bit better. The terminal bud is still pretty much dead, but it's perked up a little bit, and this bud right here looks a lot better. Let's see, let's go look at 4. I hadn't looked at them closely yet. Let's see, 4-1 looks good. 4-2 3 is getting crispier by the day, but it still looks pretty good. And for 5, doesn't look bad. Well, Friday's here, and I don't know what the herpetologist version of a pirate is, but whatever it is, I'm one of those, because I have my new best friend, this little green tree frog, who was living over here in the well. Well, he sat on my shoulder for about 5 minutes, and then he decided to run away. So now I'm coming over here to go collect him. Not because he needs to go back in the well, but because I thought of a pretty clever name for him. And so I'm going to return him to the well. Because, well, he wanted to be there anyway. Right, don't hurt yourself now. I just want to let you know that I have named the frog H.C. Wells, because the scientific name for the green tree frog is Hylicinaria, and I found him in a well. So, there you go. Go back in the well. Come on. No, don't come back in the well. And H.C. Wells is back in his pump. So, the cotton looks about the same. All the transplants are doing exactly what they were doing before. That one that was kind of droopy over there, whatever it was, 2.6, it looks even droopier now, a little bit crispier. And that one over there that's crispy looks even crispier. So nothing of importance has really changed. Hey, look, a beetle. Here we have a mini-line June beetle who has managed to get itself caught in the deer fence. Alrighty, that was worse than pulling a marsh wren out of a mist net, but he's free now. I don't think he's ever going to fly again, but at least I can say I saved him until he gets eaten by a mockingbird. Monday is here, and the transplants all still look alive to me. So I'm going to take that as a positive and reassuring sign that this indeed does work. The 2-week-old transplants are looking just fine. They're recovering very well. And the 1-week-old transplants are also doing really well. In fact, they're probably doing just as well as the 2-week-old because they got babied a little bit more. So I'm going to say that one can successfully transplant Sea Island cotton so long as you're willing to water the transplants. So this experiment has been a rousing success. Far better than I thought it would be. So that's why we do experiments like these, because we're often surprised by the results, because sometimes the answers we get contradict how we understand the system at play. And you develop a better understanding of the system you're working within by experimenting and seeing where your logic falls apart. Thanks for watching this transplant adventure. Surprising results. Tom out.